It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. Thank you so much for joining us for what has been a wild, awesome ride so far. Thank you so much. And of course, there is underpinning all of that a real consciousness about what we're talking about today. And this hits every note for me. Woolworths work very closely. We've seen this with a network of farmers and suppliers to produce not only the best quality food, obviously, but also to work in harmony with nature.
Absolutely. And one of my favorites, Clem, went out there on the field and visited one of their local suppliers to learn more about the Farming for the Future initiative and the importance of soil health and biodiversity.
How much do you know about regenerative farming? Well, Woolies have been using these farming methods for years to produce food that is sustainable and will be sustainable for generations to come. They call it farming for the future, and along with their producers and suppliers, they ensure that they not only farm better, but farm with the planet, its people, and its animals in mind. Today, I have one mission: to truly understand what farming for the future is and to see it in practice. Hello, Billy. I see I caught you at work.
Hi, Clem.
Billy, you're an advocate for sustainable farming. But why is farming for the future so important?
The toy group at the moment, we are celebrating our 130th year of farming. For us, it's important to take custodianship of what we do at the moment. We also want future generations to be able to use and do what we do. At the moment, we are replanting some of the first soils that we did plant apple trees on. And what's nice is to see is that we can really farm on those soils again and get good production and good trees from that again. Then there's also a second part of it, which is the planning that we are doing at the moment. We are considering the way that we are reallocating the natural resources that we have. So whether it's soil, the different soil types, or water, it's important for us to know how are we going to use those in the future, and also keeping in mind that the future might change a little bit.
Colin, Dutoy has now been with Woolworths for 25 years as a supplier. Can you tell me about that relationship of having them as a supplier? And what actually happens when Woolies does take on a new supplier?
I think what is important is that Woolworths we don't buy off markets, we don't buy off street corners. We've got a dedicated and quite a narrow list of suppliers that supply us directly. And when we take on a new supplier, it's because we obviously need it. We want to build on relationships like with the Dutoys for 25 years. We want them to invest in our business. We'll invest in their business, and they must do special things for Woolworths. So we keep on asking suppliers, what is the difference? So Dutoy, on apples, they grow specific varieties for us. One is called Envy. It is by far the best eating apple in the world. So if you haven't tasted it, really go out and buy it. So they grow that for us exclusively together with one or two other growers in Ceres. And that's the type of thing we look for. They must know what our thoughts are, we must know what their thoughts are, and we must work in synergy with them. It's also important when we open up a new supplier that their values must be the same as ours. They must have quality standards and they must be known in the industry for quality product. And then of course, one of the things is in terms of farming for the future. So they must be prepared to go on the farming for the future journey with us. Otherwise, it's just not negotiable. We won't even take that supplier on board. And I must say, from the beginning, which is now many, many years ago, the toys at that point in time when they came on board scored one of the highest.
So you've mentioned a few of the methods that you've been farming that's led you to this 130-year anniversary. What are some of the other ways that you're practicing farming for the future?
I think one of the new stuff that's really exciting at this stage is when it comes to the application of fertilizer. We make use of a lot of drones and cameras driving down the orchard. It's digitalizing the variation within the orchard, the crop load, and it shows us the weaker areas.
That's literally where we're standing right now.
Yeah, so it will show you where it is and all the grey and the red dots of issues that's been picked up and resolved.
There really is an app for everything.
It looks like it.
We are standing next to what I consider brown gold. This is compost in all its glory. Now I know it's made up of quite a few things. One of the things that's in there is alien species of plants. What are the benefits of including that in your compost?
We find that with alien plants also being added to our raw materials list is that it adds to the biodiversity in the compost. The more fungus and the more biodiversity you have, the more benefits you yield. The secondary benefit being the unlocking of additional water from the soil and the underground sources of water. For instance, blue gum trees you can yield thousands of liters of water just by cutting it down. So, you know, in the long run, whether underground, whether above ground, there is absolutely benefits, yes.
Jaco, I have to ask this question though, and it might sound silly. How is compost made?
Basically, compost is made of raw materials, carbon and nitrogen based. We put it together in a recipe. Depending on the type of recipe, you get a certain ratio of carbons to nitrogens. Our nitrogen source is basically being manures from the immediate area as close as possible, and then also fruit. Our carbon sources are basically wood and chips, and then also sawdust. Then we mix it in, and we start the activation process through which we aerate it and we add water. And then the microbes, they really get working.
What are the benefits of creating your own compost on site versus bringing in an industrial fertilizer?
What it does is it allows us to control the whole process better. We are much more at ease, and we know where to bring in certain manipulations if it needs to be done. And also with weather in mind and all the natural ingredients that goes into it, one does need to control as much as possible. And it's been brought together in a way that is sustainable and respects nature. The essence of the compost is the microbes that actually come with it. And in applying that to any type of soil, whether it be commercial, whether it be private or domestic, you're always adding life, and you're adding life in the long run. And that is the main difference and I think driving force behind the product.
And you can tell, you can smell, and you can see this soil is alive.
Yes.
For the consumer, what is the advantages of buying product that is farming for the future certified? It's not about future generations only, it's about us right now. So you would know in South Africa recently we've had awful weather conditions. If it's not flooding, then it's hail, then it's droughts, then it's all over the show. And with all of those things, each time a farmer just doesn't take money out of his back pocket and pay for a crop loss. It goes into the price of the product. So products get more expensive, inflation increases. Farming for the future, working together with nature, regeneratively, all is going to have an impact on the quality and the eating experience of food as we go along.
If we look at the resources that we are using at the moment, we need to think smarter and better about it, and we need to take custodianship of that as well. That will also make us more efficient in our current practices, but it will also allow the future of the business to continue and to grow as well. And in the process, we are also saving a lot. It makes us more profitable and more money at the end.
And you've proved that being sustainable is profitable, and here's to the next 130 years. Farming for the future is how we ensure that our beautiful planet keeps on producing healthy and nutritious foods while working with Mother Nature, ensuring that we're looking after our soil, maintaining biodiversity, cutting down on our carbon footprint, and saving water.
Wow, I love Clem. He got involved.
That was very romantic, I must say. Who would have thought that was his love language, was soil, man. Absolutely
Soil.
beautiful stuff. So the next time you shop at Woolies, look out for the green Farming for the Future logo on their packaging. You know what it means.
It is their commitment to the well-being of you, but not only that, also the well-being of your family, our communities, and of course, our beautiful planet. Shall we have a look at what's happening in the kitchen?
Yeah, I'm hungry and I'm smelling amazing things.